Ladies and gentlemen, today's video is going to be brought to you by a massive request from so many people, especially with Grand Poo World 3 just being announced. How do you get into Kaizo? Where do you start? How do you get a Kaizo to work? Where do you get it to work? What do you use to play? How do you play? What do you want to play? I got you. So first things first, whenever it comes to anything Super Mario World ROM hack related, there is a beautiful website, SMW Central .net. This website is going to have almost all sources of information you could possibly need in order to get started. However, the website is very intimidating to look at first, so I'm going to go ahead and give you a guide on basically everything. All right, first things first is you're going to need to acquire a copy of SMW from an old cart. The best way to do this, to my knowledge, is there's a bunch of guides on YouTube on how to use a cart reader or a ROM ripper. What you do is you basically have a device that you plug into your computer, and this device will read a cart, and then you just plug in your SMW cartridge, and then you make a backup on your computer. You are legally allowed to make a backup of all your ROMs that you own, so no problem there. So you have your ROM. What's next? You have it on your computer. How do you play it? How do you get it to a Super Nintendo? How do you get it to Super NT, whatever it is? All right, so there are many ways actually to play ROMs or ROM hacks. First thing we're going to go over is emulation. This is going to be downloading a program on your computer that is going to emulate the exact process of a Super Nintendo. And from my experience, I prefer SNES 9X. If you, for whatever reason, don't like the SNES 9X, there's other options out there. There's a BizHawk, which is actually usable with crowd control. There is RetroArch, and I believe there's a couple others. However, I am going to just strongly suggest the SNES 9X. And if you're thinking to yourself, well, so if I want to play on hardware, I don't want to play on emulation. One of the best parts of emulation is an emulator is absolutely free. The only thing you actually really need to own is a copy of SMW. And if you're ever worried about like, well, don't the top players not play on emulation? One of the best SMW players in the world, DeWild Grimm, he has actually been playing on emulator SNES 9X now for I think over 4 years, and he has several notary world records. So don't ever think that emulation is a lesser way of playing. It's just probably the easiest way. Next up, the SNES Mini. You know that little device that is about this big? It comes with a wireless controller. It's about 70 bucks, Best Buy, Target, wherever you find it online. You can actually go on YouTube and find a way to crack the SNES Mini, and you're able to put new ROMs on it. That includes ROM hacks, of course. The option that I have is actually, I use a Super NT. You see the Super NT, it's just an HDMI version. It also is technically emulation. This is not original hardware at all. But there is a company called Analog, and they make these. And the reason that I decided to go with this is because when it comes to streaming Super Mario World, it's very easy. It's plug and play. All you really need is a low latency monitor, and in my opinion, you really can't beat how easy it is. The Super NT does run about $200, but there is actually an SD card slot right there, so that way you can actually just put a ROM in and play. Another option is obviously the original Super Nintendo. Now, however, if you do wish to play on a Super Nintendo, you are going to need something along to basically plug an SD card in order to play it, and that's going to be your SD2 SNES. I do believe the SD2 SNES, however, is rebranding to be named FX Pack. The SD2 SNES brand is starting to grow, and they do not want to run into any copyright problems with having SD in it, so they're renaming it and rebranding to FX Pack. This runs about 150 bucks. They have an SD2 SNES Pro, which I don't recommend. It's kind of just future-proofing it for an extra 50 bucks. So if you want to throw in an extra 50 bucks, go for it. However, there is another one called an EverDrive or a Super EverDrive. I do not recommend the Super EverDrive. I have heard that basically you cannot do some of the cool stuff that you can on the SD2 SNES. As you see, there is a little mini port right there, and I use a program called the USB to SNES. The USB to SNES allows me to save state multiple parts in the game with literally just a click of a button. So this is actually my setup right here. Is I just plug in the SD2 SNES into the Super NT, and that's how I've been playing ROM hacks now for over a year. You got your ROM, you have your console or emulation to play it. Next up, a very big topic is controllers. So first things up, if you play on emulator and you just kind of just want to get a feel for it, you can play on keyboard. You absolutely can play on keyboard. I actually did it for about 2 months. I wanted to get a feel for it before I invested in my newest controller, which we will get to. So yeah, playing on keyboard is totally possible if you run through emulation. If, say, keyboard's not your style, you want to be able to hold an original controller as close as you can, but you're on emulation, you're going to play through your computer, I am going to recommend the iBuffalo. The iBuffalo you can find on Amazon for about 30 bucks. This thing actually used to only be about $10, but I guess the demand for it kind of just like skyrocketed in the past 2 years. And now I've seen this thing actually be on Amazon for almost $45 a time. Is it worth $45? But I definitely recommend an iBuffalo over an 8BitO. No 8BitO. 8BitO sucks. 8BitO absolutely sucks. Do not buy an 8BitO. Their controllers last like a couple months. They break. The D-pads start wonking out. Buttons start sucking and losing inputs. Don't get an 8BitO. iBuffalo. Another very obvious option is the original Super Famicom or Super Nintendo controller. This is just an original manufactured controller. I still believe that these are on sale on Amazon. However, these are much more expensive because they're such in short demand. I'm sorry, it's such in short supply. However, if you happen to live near, say, an old retro video game shop, it's very likely that they'll have some of these on sale. I live in Southern California, and there is a little video game retro shop in Little Tokyo in LA. And I went there and they had like crates full of empty of these, and I actually got some for a bunch of people in the community. The last controller, which you probably all saw this coming, is my Hitbox. Hey, I play on Hitbox. Yes, that's what I do. I play on Hitbox. There's a video about why I play on Hitbox, but that is also an option. It's basically any USB controller is usable for if you play on emulator. But yeah, as far as controllers go, those are basically your options. Next up is how do you download a ROM hack? Now, there's this big misconception that you go online, you know, so many people while I'm streaming will come in and be like, I downloaded Quickie World and I tried playing it and it didn't work, Tofu. Well, here's the problem. So I'm gonna do a quick demonstration here. First things first, you are gonna need to go to SMW Central, and you're going to have to go down to this on this right side over here. You're going to go scroll down to tools. All right, so you're going to click tools and you're going to filter results. Type in flips. You're going to see floating IPS. All right, this program is essentially what allows you to apply the ROM hack to the ROM. Now you have to consider ROM hacks are just a bunch of patches of data that alter the memory values of SMW vanilla. So I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys just a quick demonstration on how to apply your ROM, just so that way it's all set in stone and you have no problem doing it yourself. First things first, we're gonna want to find a ROM hack. All right, we're gonna go to SMW hacks, and we're just gonna filter results. Let's type in Kaizo Mario 3 because I'm a masochist. Oh, look, it didn't pop up. So when you filter results on SMW Central, they're very specific. You have to type in almost word for word. It's not going to just kind of like guess. Watch as I delete the 3. All right. Now I came up with Kaizo Mario World 2, Kaizo Mario World 3. We're just going to go ahead and get 3. So we're going to download. We're going to open the folder. We're going to extract the folder. And you will see here, there is a window that pops up with 3 files. Typically, whenever you download a ROM hack, there'll maybe be 2, most likely only be 1. Kaizo Mario 3 is very unique. because Kaizo Mario World 3 actually only came with limited lives. So people have taken the initiative to obviously patch infinite lives into Kaizo Mario World 3. Anyways, so if you see this little flower pop up on the left-hand side, that basically means that Flips is open and active on your computer. So here we go. We're going to double click Kaizo Mario World 3 with infinite lives. .bps. BPS is the patch file. And at the top here, you're going to see it's going to say select a file to patch. Now, my base vanilla SMW, I renamed it to be base_SMW. So that way I always know. And it's always right there. Now I'm just going to double click that. And it's asking me, where do I want this file to be basically placed? And this is my SD card. This is the SD card that I plug into my ST2 SNES into the Super NT. So I obviously just want it to be right there. So we're just going to click save. Patch was applied successfully. Alrighty. And then we're going to go look. ST2 SNES, Kaizo Mario. And there you have it. Kaizo Mario World 3. Let's actually just give it a quick boot up. Alrighty. So as you see, Kaizo Mario, that is the file that it is under. And then you see right there, Kaizo Mario World 3 Infinite Lives, and you just load it up. And it's basically that simple. Of course, if you do decide to play on emulator, you don't need an SD card. The file on your computer will be enough. However, you will need to still patch the file. And then when you open the file in your SNES 9X emulator, you know what? Let's do a demonstration. Go file, load game. And as you see here, it actually already goes straight to my file where I have the patched files of SMW. And you double click whichever one you want. And there you have it. I do believe that is it, ladies and gentlemen. That is my intro guide on getting started into Kaizo. I'm going to do another video about what hacks do I recommend that you start with. Why do I recommend you start easy and move your way up instead of going big boy, big dick status and, you know, cruising across. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much for watching. See you next time.